Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. With these words and one line, I greet you, Jamaica, the diaspora, and the world, in the powerful name of God Almighty. I am the great defender. Welcome to 2023. The year has just begun, and we are thankful to God that we made it to the beginning of a new year. Jamaica, we have trotted a rough patch in 2022, the slaughtering of hundreds of our citizens, the economic decline of the country, the global embarrassments revealed through the levels of corruption in our leadership, the huge fines in illicit drugs, the fines in weaponry, and the revelation that even when the drugs and the guns are found, there is little or no prosecution. Names are mentioned, individuals disappear. The government seems lost, but somehow there is never any high-level prosecution for these major crimes, which tells me something is dramatically wrong with our justice system. Either the laws are not enforced, or there are no laws, or there are no one who are capable of enforcing the law. And so therefore, as we embark on a new journey in 2023, we realize that the country is slipping, and it's slipping both ways. We have the country being owned piece by foreigners, and we have a country that the outlaws seem to rule or have the influence over they that claim they rule this country. And so the man in the street is the man that gets prosecuted. He'll get prosecuted for not wearing a mask. He'll get prosecuted for using curse words. He'll get prosecuted for the simplest of things. But the big crimes, there's always no one to be prosecuted. Or if they are even tried, they are let go. And so it tells us one thing, Jamaica. It tells us that we are not treated equally under the law. It tells us that they should have two sets of law books, and they should hand us the one that belongs to the ordinary people, and give us a copy of the ones that belong to the rich and the privileged, so we can go through it and see how we can get the same treatment like them. It is rather mind-boggling that with the high levels of crime in our country, that judges can sit and just whether they take bribes, we don't know. But it seems to me they are cowards, or they are not aware of what is going on, or they do not read the notes in the charges against the criminals. They just are going by hearsay. But something is wrong, and therefore there has to be a new movement in the country. There has to be people that are willing now to put integrity to work. There has to be people that are willing to put dignity to work. There has to be people that are willing to show honesty, forthrightness, and patriotism in all the things they do. We have a country to save. And as the government moves in its nonchalant behavior, the people are left to seek their own forms of justice because the one at the government level has failed and has failed and has failed again and continue to fail and will continue to fail. We have a country to save. And for the minds in Jamaica that are willing to hold up your hands for the cause of patriotism and to follow a new movement into 2023 and onward, we ask you to hold up your hands. Do not be ashamed. Do not be ashamed to step away from that which has not been working for your country. You go to your ports of entry. They are run by foreigners. The prime real estate in your country is owned by foreigners. The poor people, when they try to buy lands and erect a building to escape a mortgage, the building is hit down, brought to the ground, and the land seized from them because there's no land program in the country. And poor people are made to lose everything they ever worked for. There's no form of compensation, neither is there any form of prosecution. And so they are left empty-handed. The government claims it's doing its job. But the empowerment of our people is very important. The people are left empty-handed and hence they are powerless. They are desperate. Some people will say the criminals are not hungry, that they drive nice cars and they have expensive guns. These nice cars and expensive guns belong to the people that sponsor them. If they had money, if they had an economic base, they would not take the bait to go about killing for money. But that aside, the governments have dropped the ball from the schools. And that is where our young people have to be cultured from. We have to begin to take the 10 and the 12-year-olds and begin to train them in patriotic duties. They have to have regular drills on patriotism in the schools. Patriotism should be a topic that is taught in all schools throughout Jamaica. This is a topic that must be taught. There must be plays and shows on patriotism. The use of our military to preserve peace in our country must be enacted. We notice the main opposition keeps mentioning the Constitution, and they don't want to infringe on the constitutional rights of citizens. I will ask the opposition, where were you when the criminals are inflicting their criminal acts on the people, when they are slaughtering the citizens of Jamaica? Do they worry about the rights of the citizens? Do the criminals worry about the rights of the people they kill night and day? And if we have to bend the rules a little to bring the criminals to justice, There shouldn't be a problem in that. My problem with the ruling party, they are not firm enough. Because there must be emergency acts that should be put in place that most of these criminals should have already been either dead or in prison. There are planes in Upper Camp, there are helicopters there, and there are drones there. There are bombs, grenades, guns, you name the weaponry, they have it there. And are you telling me that a handful of bandits can roam all over Jamaica when all this weaponry is sitting, dry rotting there? It is time you wage war on the criminals. The country is at war whether you like it or not. I urge the government, if you cannot lead the country, if you are afraid to take on the criminals, step down. Put an interim government in place who is willing to take the charge of Jamaica forward and to move the country in the right direction. The bombs at Upper Camp must be activated. The location of the criminals, the hideouts, must be pinpointed. And they must smoke them out of their holes. This cannot continue. And if there are people in the buildings that they are hiding, unfortunately they are guilty too, because they are aiding and abetting the criminals. They are just as guilty as the murderers. So we can waste them too. It is time for serious action, serious moves to save the country. Are we going to surrender to a handful of bandits when we have an army, we have police force? I talk about the rebuilding of our country. By now we should have the Jamaica Secret Service, which should be working across the country in numbers, in huge numbers, very well disguised, to pinpoint the criminals, find out who they are, where they are, and send in the helicopters with the bombs to just blow them to smithereens. It is war, and the country must know that it's at war with the criminals. It is either the good or the bad. It is good versus evil. Whom do you want to serve? Choose this day whom ye may serve. Do you serve the people of Jamaica, the law-abiding citizens of the country, or are you going to continue to serve the criminals? Mr. Government, if you don't have the balls to fight crime, step aside and let people who have the balls do the diligent duty to their country. It's too much innocent bloodshed. They are being killed in 3s and 4s and 5s. There's war going on in the Ukraine, and so much people are not dying like people dying in Jamaica. Mr. Government, you have failed. You have not the balls and the appetite to fight the fight on behalf of the country. You have to realize, if we were invaded by an outside force, these gunmen would join the outside force and fight against you. That's how treacherous they are. We have to scrub the country from the scourge of crime and bring the country back to normalcy. Jamaica, the women, the men that are losing your precious children, that are just having children to turn over to gangsters and to be victims of the gangsters. Raise your hand in patriotism and demand a new movement. Support a new movement who will take your country forward. No child in Jamaica should go hungry, whether the parent is alive or dead. No child in Jamaica shouldn't go to school, whether the parents are alive or dead. We believe in inclusiveness, that all Jamaicans are equal under the law. And if the present laws on the books does not dictate the equal treatment of all Jamaicans, then laws must be created that will make sure that all Jamaicans are treated equal. The health sector that is rotten must be fixed. There's no effort made to fix that. We need more dialysis machines in the country. A lot of Jamaicans are dying because they cannot afford dialysis. We need more medications, affordable medicine. We need more hospitals. We need better school system. There are a lot of things that we need that the governments have failed to address. They are busy giving you handouts to blindfold you, and so you cannot see a future. You're only seeing the few paper dollars in your hands. You need a future, Jamaica, and all of you who are not working. There must be programs in place where you're properly fed on a daily basis, not just handouts every now and then. I'm talking about each individual having a card that they can go and purchase what they need to eat. And there must be programs in place where you will be trained in the different skills that you can get a job. The job creation must be enforced. There are a lot of things that has to be enforced, and it can be done. But the government doesn't care. Either they don't care or they just are not willing to do what they're supposed to do. With these words, I rest my case. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word so it can be heard. Thank you.